In honour of the British horror staple returning this month in the shape of 28 Years Later, I thought it'd be fun to run through my top 10 scary films from this sad little part of the world. So, here we go, my top 10 British horror films. Let's do it. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Dave Musson and this is a place where normally I talk to you about Stephen King or occasionally I give you book recommendations, but in this particular part of the channel I'm talking about scary films. Yes, this is Silver Scream, the little spin-off of my main channel where I talk about horror movies. And as you already know from the start of this one, I'm going to be talking in this video about my top 10 favourite British horror films. And I'm doing this because at the time of recording, we're just a few days away from 28 Years Later dropping in cinemas, the third in Danny Boyle's zombie movies that are set right here in the UK. And I thought that was a good enough excuse to run through some of my favourite British horror films. So this ranking will be completely spoiler free and it will be a ranking. So I'll be counting all the way up to my favourite British horror film. And of course, I would love to know your favourite British horror film as well. Get involved in the comments. Do let me know your pick for scary stuff that's set or made right over here. So before we get into it, just a quick nod to the description. You'll find links to my collection of short stories, Once More Around the Sun, my Stephen King trivia book, my range of Stephen King themed band shirts, and a link to become a member of this channel if you like what I'm doing here and get extra content, that kind of stuff. They're all there in the description. Check them out if you're interested. And hey, if not, no worries at all. Thank you for watching. Consider becoming a subscriber so you don't miss future videos. And if you're already a subscriber, maybe tell a friend. See if they might want to come and join in the fun over here as well. Okay, I've got my cup of tea in a ghost mug. Yes, tea and spooky. We're talking British horror. Let's get into my top 10 British horror films, shall we? Right at 10, The Hole. Now I know this film sucks, but I saw it at the right age and it just really, really stuck with me. It's just really fun. It's the kind of thing you want from an early noughts teen horror. I mean, who doesn't like seeing a bunch of posh private school kids trying to be edgy and then failing miserably? And also, what kind of school has that sort of bunker on their premises and hasn't just made it permanently inaccessible? But anyway, I like the fact that it's a bit of a different setting. We get this bunch of fucked up characters and there's a bit of everything here for especially a teen viewer. A bit of violence, a bit of sex, a few twists. It's just a load of fun. Yes, it's bad, but I can't help but tell you my truth here. And this one makes it into the top 10. Yeah, really. So at 9, it's The Descent, which is a film I only actually saw for the first time earlier in 2025. And I had a great time with it. Now, of course, the impact of its most famous jump scare was somewhat lessened because I've seen it a million times out of context. Just having all my algorithms tuned to horror stuff is going to do that to you. But it was still effective and didn't ruin my enjoyment of the movie at all. Caving seems like a bad idea in the best of times. So caving in a horror film was never going to end up particularly well, was it? I wasn't surprised at all that things go off the rails pretty quickly for our bunch of characters. But yeah, lots of fun and a good way of dealing with trauma in a horror film. Like, have it, but don't make it the monster. Give us some monsters. So my 8th pick is An American Werewolf in London, which is another movie I was pretty late to, but also had a great time with, obviously, given that it's here in my top 10. Now, there's so much to enjoy about this. The scenes in Yorkshire are particularly terrifying, and not just because they're in Yorkshire. The scenes on the moors, all the stuff out at night, yeah, super scary. But the scene in the pub with all the locals just being super mistrustful of our American visitors, arguably even more scary, and made even more scary by the fact that you've got the PE teacher from Kes in there just being all intimidating and bald and Yorkshire. But of course, it's the transformation sequence that gets everybody talking about this film, and my god, what an incredible piece of practical effects and an incredible piece of cinema that holds up even now. A movie from what, 1981? Still looks amazing. Good job. So at 7, while we're talking werewolves and stuff, let's talk about Dog Soldiers. Wow, this movie of an army weekend exercise gone completely tits up is just an absolute riot. Like, sure, some of the characters and their motivations and their actions feel quite of the time of this movie, but it's still an absolute romp to go through. This is as much an action movie as it is a horror survival piece. The two blend brilliantly. It's just nasty and a lot of fun. So at 6, I'm going to pick The Feast, which at the time of recording is the only film I've ever watched in the Welsh language. And this tale of a dinner party that goes wrong is just thoroughly captivating. Right from the start, you can feel tension and unease. There is a family dynamic here with our main family that is just not right. There is something wrong in this household. And that's only exacerbated by the hired help that they bring in for this dinner party and her actions, which instantly get all kinds of unnerving. And then we progress, we build the dread, we build the discomfort, and we hit the final act. And no spoilers here, but I'm just going to say a mixture of hell yeah and what the hell? Yeah, it's pretty damn great. So 5, Kill List. So this movie about a hitman begrudgingly taking on one last job is one of the most shocking, violent and unexpected things I have ever seen. This is kind of filmed and presented almost like a drama that you would get maybe on a Sunday evening over the autumn and winter. But it's actually a really hard-hitting psychological horror that deals brilliantly with mental health, but channels it through an hour and a half of just violence and twists and shocks and just all kinds of nasty, nasty vibes. It is an incredible film, and frankly, I'm itching to watch it again. So for The Wicker Man, yet another one I was pretty late to. I saw this for the first time when it was in cinemas for its 50th anniversary in, 2023? But anyway, I was fascinated to watch this documentary on island life in Scotland and just realise how little has actually changed for some parts of the UK in 50 years. I'm kidding, I know it's not a documentary, but wow, what a great film. And where do you even start with picking out the best moments of this? So many iconic scenes, images. Like, it's kind of unsettling to the point where you laugh nervously, but it's also really disturbing. And then you're presented with perhaps the greatest ending to a horror movie ever? It's certainly up there in the question, isn't it? So 3, 28 Days Later. Now, I'm not normally one for zombie films, but you cannot argue with one of the best and most important British films, full stop, of the last 25 years. I mean, so much to talk about. Is there a better version of person walking around post-apocalyptic world than Cillian Murphy just stumbling confused around London at the start of this? I don't think so. The church scene gets me every time. Brendan Gleeson's character's fate just breaks my heart, and the twists and turns that we get as this movie goes on, and the fact that it is so relentless in not letting you relax even for a minute throughout the course of this runtime is so impressive and so gripping. And all from the guy who choreographed the 2012 Olympics opening ceremony. Like, just brilliant, and I am so excited for the new one. Okay, at 2, Eden Lake. Now, I will level with you. This wasn't on my list originally. I jotted down some films for this list, and then I did a quick Google search to check I hadn't missed anything obvious. And I guess see if there was anything that's on my watch list that warranted being bumped up, just to see if it might scrape into the top 10. Eden Lake came up on all of those lists that I found online, so I thought, yeah, let's bump it up, let's give it a watch. And well, here we are. It's my second favourite British horror film ever. What a fantastic film. I mean, at the top level, it's kind of a film about not messing with British teenagers, especially when you're in the woods and you haven't got anywhere to run and hide for help, or run and hide or call for help. But it's so much more than that. It's so violent. It is so dark. And Jack O'Connell as chief tormentor is just utterly wonderful. Makes his character in Sinners seem pretty polite and friendly, really. And the whole film is great. It would definitely have got in my top 10 just on its own merits. But the final 10 minutes, oh, so good. Chef's kiss. Absolutely sealed the deal in terms of getting it this high up the list. And even though I literally only watched it a couple of weeks ago, I kind of want to watch it again. So good. so good. But my number one pick, Shaun of the Dead. Now, yeah, is it a bit weird that I've put what is, I guess, a comedy at the top of my British horror films list? Maybe, but it's also a horror film, and the horror sequences are really good, and they are done like a horror film. You can't deny that. And it's so unbelievably British too, that it was just the obvious pick when I sat down to write my choices for this list. Now, I don't know how many times I've seen this film, but I could probably start going through the script now and get about 90% of it right. It's just something that ticked so many boxes for me, which is weird because I don't really like zombie stuff, but it's so funny, but the horror stuff is really well executed, and it just captures Britain perfectly. And it will alter how you see the world, you know. You'll think very differently about where a safe space to hide in a zombie apocalypse might be. You'll never listen to Don't Stop Me Now by Queen again in quite the same way. And you will forever be wondering if it's true that really dogs can't look up. So yeah, weird that I put a comedy at the top, weird that I put a zombie film at the top when I don't like zombie films, but it's my list, deal with it. Shaun of the Dead, my favourite British horror film of all time, and one of my favourite British comedies as well. Horror and comedy are always very close bedfellows. Mixing of the two rarely goes well. This one is one of the exceptions to that rule. Such a good movie. And that's my top pick. But what's your favourite British horror movie? Let me know in the comments. Okay, there we go. There's my top 10 British horror films of all time. Let me know which one is yours. And hey, let's all start to get really excited about 28 years later, because at the time of recording, it's fast approaching and I'm very, very excited to go and see it. And of course, I'll be reviewing it right here on this channel. Thanks ever so much for watching. Check all the links in the description for all the other stuff that I like to vlog. I'm not going to do that again, but you know, if you're interested, check them out. And hey, hopefully see you soon for either some Stephen King stuff, for some book recommendations over in my book club, or for some more talk about scary films over here in Silver Screen. There's loads to be coming back for, so come back soon. Okay, bye bye.